did we always fall for straight men? I thought maybe I'm not the only one. I remember growing up, no one really ever talked about this. I don't think I ever found anything on this topic on YouTube or anything like that. It wasn't until my late teen years, maybe like college era, when I started to see, like, I think actual therapists make videos about the thing that we technically experienced when we fell for these straight boys growing up. I don't think I was ever actually in love with straight men, but because I didn't have self-love or self-respect, I was trying to claw my way out to escape myself. I realized I didn't want to be myself. I wanted to be anyone else but me. I feel like that encapsulates that whole entire experience, because it took me forever to really get to the core of what was going on and what was happening. I remember desperately wanting someone who I admired or found attractive to save me from myself. And the key realization came when I noticed that deep attraction, that obsession really, would disappear just as fast and transfer to another boy. Like there was a mental checkbox my brain was subconsciously checking off. It's taken me years to finally understand this, and the healing is still in process. I want this video to show you that we aren't alone in feeling this way. I don't know about everyone else, but I feel like a lot of us go through this. You don't have to be a gay man either. I think any queer person can relate, and if this hits you, please let me know. So basically, like I was saying, what we were experiencing, I believe, is what people call limerence. And according to Wikipedia, limerence is the mental state of being madly in love or intensely infatuated when reciprocation of the feeling is uncertain. This state is characterized by intrusive thoughts and the idealization of the loved one, typically with a desire for reciprocation to form a relationship. This is accompanied by feelings of ecstasy or despair, depending on whether one's feelings seem to be reciprocated or not. And girl, ain't that the truth? For me, it was like in high school, I would develop a crush on someone I found attractive. Honestly, like, yes, like I feel like you had to be physically attracted to them, but what I noticed was that, like, I didn't know these guys for real. I just wanted to get to know them, and it was very delulu of me to, like, develop a crush on them, even though we weren't that close. But that's, like, the whole point of limerence, is that, like, you become so infatuated and so obsessed, and in reality, you become so obsessed with the idea of who they can be, with a version of them that you've made up in your head, and you, like, so desperately want them to be XXX, certain, whatever. And I found that, like, it worked best when the less you knew about the person, like, the better it was. Like that feeling of looking into things that weren't really there, or trying to make small things into bigger things, and kind of like being in this loop of like following breadcrumbs. Just honestly insanity. Just insane things, to be honest. And it's kind of funny because I'm like, oh my god, am I really gonna put this out there? But like, yeah, because I don't believe I was the only one. Like, I couldn't have been. And also, what if, like, some young queer person is out there and struggling with this? Maybe this can help shed light into the topic. Maybe I can help you kind of understand, or at least feel less alone. Obviously, if someone's like, if you need help, get professional help. I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, like any of that, right? But, so disclaimer. But, I mean, this is my experience, so take it with a grain of salt. That was very intoxicating. It was very much like a coping mechanism. It was like you found, I don't want to say victim, but like you found like a vessel, or like a vehicle to put all of your hopes, all of your dreams, like just to focus on something so you can like get away and not have to deal with your own life. So you don't have to deal with your own problems. And that very much came, like I said, from a lack of self-love. That very much came from having no self-respect, because you're essentially choosing someone else over yourself, and that is not something that we should ever do. Am I right? It always happened to like someone that you kind of found interesting or attractive, and it was like the more opposite, or actually the more unavailable they were, the better for the delusion, because you could fill in the blanks in your mind, or you can imagine things, like you would make it the ideal partner, or the ideal, like whatever you thought was the ideal man, like that. I think like what my head was looking for, I don't know. So like someone like masculine, right? Someone like straight passing, or I realized that it was maybe more about guys who I kind of wished I was more like, or who I wish I had proximity to. And I think that that's a common theme I found with the type of boys that I was liking in that time. Now I kind of understand it more, so I think it very much was that. And what really like made me understand that like, okay, this is crazy and very unhealthy, was the fact that like as soon and as fast as it happened with one person, for whatever reason, maybe I got to know them more, maybe the illusion broke, etc., etc., then like my brain would find someone else and quickly, and then it would like happen just as deeply. So I don't think I realized it then, but looking back, maybe, like in college, is when I realized like, whoa, wait a minute. Maybe there were crushes in the beginning, or to an extent, but I don't think that was like a real healthy, like it wasn't healthy, period. And like another reason why I think this happens, especially, for example, for me, for like a gay man, a gay boy, whatever, right? I think that happened more because at that time, I didn't know I had like little to no contact with any boys, period. Because my whole like middle school, well, not even my whole middle school, it was after the fact that like I kind of came out to boys I thought were friends, and then they like rejected me. It was like, it wasn't that dramatic, but it was very like, oh, it was kind of like they just dropped me, and like that was the end of it, you know what I mean? After I told them, I guess they didn't want to catch the gay disease, the gay agenda. I hope you are liking the video so far. If you are, please comment down below what you are thinking. What do you think about my performance? This is more of like a whisper ramble, and I'm trying my best to do it, so. Like I was saying, why this happens to people like me is because of how distant we were to other males. I think that maybe another reason why my brain found like this ideal version of someone, like, and developed a crush and developed attraction, was because I think I so badly wanted not only to be saved, and by saved I mean like, oh, I hope like he chooses me, like he's gonna like one day wake up and Taylor Swift, if you could say that I'm the one who understands you, paying you're all alone, so why can't you see you belong with me? Very delusional in that sense, where like, yeah, that was the fantasy. The end goal was to like, oh my god, he's one day gonna choose me, and he's gonna see blah 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 blah. I think that that's why then whenever maybe like the fantasy broke, or you learned more things, or you saw the human side of him, I think that's when the brain was kind of like turned off, and then the illusion broke, and then your brain would like latch onto, oh, there's like another hot guy, or there, but I think it was the lack of having, male partnerships and friendships in my life that also really like, it was like I craved that connection, I guess, and maybe like my brain really like made these things up in a way to feel close to another guy, which is like really, really, really weird to say, and I'm like thinking about it now, I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. But if you like are a gay boy or queer person who was rejected and left outside and never really accepted by friends who were boys, or just boys in general, I think that maybe that was a way of me coping I don't know, maybe, like I said, like in college, growing up, then like 20, 21, 22, like for me, that's when I started to be around more boys, even at my job, my landscaping job, like, oh my god, terrible. Terrible in some ways, but also like great in other ways, and that's when I actually like started to befriend guys, and it was like a little, almost like being a teenager again, almost like, it felt good, to be accepted, or, sometimes not even like accepted, but at least like being treated like another guy. And I think that was something that I never truly experienced, like in high school and middle school. Well, at least the later part of middle school, because early middle school, I definitely had like guy friends. Like, I want to say, like, I never realized how good I had it until after like I like came out to them, and then like, that happened. But so then when I actually got to know men and have them in my life and just interact, like, I'm not even talking about like deep relationships, like, no, like I did have like a really deep platonic friendship. That's another story for another time. But I think after that, that's when like, oh, like that's when I really woke up and understood, because now, like, maybe one, yes, I was still, still growing up, right? Like, hello. But also, like, now men weren't like a myth. Now men weren't like this distant thing. Now they were really like, hey, I'm one of the boys now. And I think that that's part of the antidote. That is part of the solution. I don't even know how to, like, explain it to you, but like little gay boys, if anyone's listening, like, you need to find like male friends, which is like, girl, easier said than done. Like, I can do it now, but in middle school, high school, I don't know if I could have done that, but I kind of wish I did, because that would have helped a lot, then your brain wouldn't like fantasize or like try to get close in other like crazy ways, I don't know. But now I can tell when I'm genuinely attracted to a guy, and it's because of X, Y, and Z, like, I'm not in school anymore. I think this very much happens maybe when you're in school, you know what I mean? Like a very adolescent thing, right? So hopefully when you like reach adulthood, like, it goes away, but I think it goes away if you work on it, if you realize, if you are aware. Because, I mean, I don't know anyone right now, but like, I can't imagine someone being my age and still having that. That's crazy. But also, like, not to judge, but if I was still like that, oh girl, the time wasted, you know what I mean? But whatever, I digress. The antidote is very much get close to boys, have platonic friendships. Don't completely isolate yourself from other males. That's one. The other, maybe, of course, seek, therapy or whatever. Like, I still need to do that. Can you tell? Just kidding. Don't answer that. That's obviously, like, I guess, duh, right? Of course, the one and only. Finding love for yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to choose yourself, because no one else is gonna do it. No other little boy, like, no one you like, no one is coming. No one is coming, and no one needs to, no one has to, and no one will. And that is why it took little by little finding love for yourself, accepting that you are all you have, and then working with what you have, and learning to love the pieces as you heal. That is what's gonna wake you up and take you out of that spell of, and that loop of that unhealthiness. But it really has to come from within. It really has to be something you want. Because I can imagine, it feels good. Like, it makes, like, it, like the thing was saying, it feels like ecstasy or whatever to crush on someone. But what if you can actually crush on someone that you actually have potential with? Someone that can actually like you back? Is that not like what you want? You don't really want to feel all these things for someone that cannot feel them for you, or someone who doesn't know you exist, or that will never know how you feel about them, you know what I mean? And oh my god, I'm thinking about that. There was one boy I eventually befriended my crushes in high school, except like one, and he's still fine. He's still fine. But I don't know him. I never got to meet him. You know what I mean? Very much you projecting. That was just, that was just me projecting what I wanted, etc., etc. You know what I just said. I'm so glad I'm not in that place anymore. And I'm still healing and I'm still learning, girl. If you are feeling like this, please know that you're not broken and there's nothing wrong with you. There's just maybe something not the best that you just kind of have like a coping mechanism that is just not the healthiest right now, and that is okay. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's okay. You know, you got to accept that. You got to understand that, and you got to know that there is a way out. There's a way to get better, and just because you're struggling or you're in the thick of it, you got to know that just because you're experiencing this doesn't mean it's gonna be like this forever. If anyone got anything out of this, please let me know down below. Please, please, please subscribe to my gay little corner, and see you in the next one.